Executive consultants, you're welcome. We know very well that we stopped in our previous videos when we had purchased, when we had manufactured, and when we had also sold out to some clients. So today we are going to see what normally takes place in real life. We are going to see how to raise a credit note for a customer and how to raise a debit note for the supplier. So we are going to go back and then we see how we find our way out or our way on on our Tally software and how we do that. So I'm going to open our company and here we are. So the first thing that you need to do before you do the debit or credit note, you need to find out if you enabled them. So I will simply come to your features here, because when you come to the features, you're going to realize that you need to, there are different areas that you need to update, that you need to enable, and those that you don't need to enable. For example, if we were probably on using a cash basis system, I would come and then I would say no. So they would give me, if I would come and say yes, and they would give me an income versus expense statement. But because I want to appear an L and I'm operating on an accrual basis, then I will keep it at that. But today that's not the case. Our case is today on using the credit notes or the debit notes. So you can see that they are all enabled. But when I say no here, you can see that it says no to credit notes and then the debit notes. So what does that mean? Let us have a look. When we come back to our accounting transactions, remember I told you every transaction is done under accounting vouchers. So we'll come and you can see that our credit note and the debit note are not enabled. So you will have to come back to features here and then you enable them. So we will say yes, and then we'll say yes here as well, and yes here, then we'll come back. So when we come back, you can clearly see that a credit note is here and a debit note has also been enabled. Okay, once that is done, then we need to find out if we want to make a debit note. We probably purchased, so we need to go to our purchases, and then we see we have our purchase figure as 101,950,500 shillings. So we need to see if we make a debit note, that is more of a purchase return. So if we make a purchase return, is our purchase accounts going to be affected or not? So let us head into the debit note and then we see how it can be done. So you can, like you already know that we are going to come to vouchers, accounting vouchers, and then you are going to come to debit note. But like I told you that every time you come here and you want to call on the items, you don't need the particulars, because when I come to particulars, they will ask for us ledgers, and us creating these items with creating ledgers for these items would be a wastage of time. So we would simply come and then we say as an invoice. So when we do that, then we'll simply make a few changes in our date. And then we'll say reference number, that one. And then we'll say cash. So we'll simply come and then we say which order. So let us assume there was an order of that we made on, let's say, 1st May. And then, so that order was from someone at William Street that we purchased from. So we'll say purchases, and then you can see that we purchased Harris International Water and Coca-Cola Bottling Centuries. We purchased 70 bottles, and then we purchased 215 bottles of Coca-Cola from this supplier. So they will bring this the order that we made, and then we will come and then find out how many do we want to take back. So perhaps we want to take back 10 of them, and then the same rate, and then will be done for Harris. And then we also realize that the bottles that they gave us 215, so yet 15 of them were not fit for consumption. So we'll say 15 of them. Then we'll say end list. So once I do that, we can clearly see that we have finished putting our debit note in place. So we'll come back to our profit and loss account to check the balance for the purchases. And then when we do that, you can clearly see that it has fallen from what we started with. We started with 964, but then we continuously kept on making debit notes. So the debit note that we made for the second time, which is here, was 22,500. And then it reduced the value from what we had when we opened the system to now the current closing balance of 1,928,000. So that is how a debit note is going to be put into the system. So it should not take you a long time for you to raise a debit note under Tally, because we have seen we started with a certain figure and then we ended up with a figure. So once a debit note is done and we sold it to people and they have returned some, so we have sales returns. So we need to first of all see our sales account is saying 24,054,000. So what happens when a customer brings back items that we sold to him? So we'll still come and then we have a credit note for the customer that has brought up things or items that he purchased from us. And we'll surely know that our sales account is going to be affected. So we'll say maybe the sales order that we received on 2nd January, and we'll simply say, okay, so sales, and then we'll say items. Remember we sold iPhones, so we sold items, so we'll come and then we'll say not applicable. So we'll come and then we say we sold, perhaps maybe we sold him, were they 500? I can't recall, but let's say they were 500 and then he's returning 60 of them. And then at the rate that we sold at him, it was 16,000. So we'll simply do that and then we'll be done for. Okay, so that means we have a sales return of 96,000. And when we come back to our profit and loss account, you can clearly see that our sales account has been reduced. Why? Because these are the net sales and we've put off the sales returns. So raising a credit note or a debit note under Tally should be as easy as we have seen, keeping in mind that you need to come and you check your features and then you enable the credits and the debit notes, and then you follow the procedures just like we have done. So this is how we raise the notes. And in the next video, we'll be looking at the price levels. If you do not want to always try to remember, if I'm selling to a wholesaler, how much should I sell? If I'm selling to a retailer, how much should I sell these items at? So in the next video, we'll be looking at the price list. Subscribe to our channel, share this link, share this video, and help us build the public. Then finally, don't forget to press that bell so that you can be able to get notifications every time we put up new videos. Executive consultants, let us learn together.